Michaels tickets to the Red Hawks tonight, plus the right to throw out the first pitch.
Wow.
Pretty cool. So they wanted to know if I wanted to do it. And, for the sake of everybody's eyes, I decided not to go and do it. I think it's more fun when you give away the first pitch. So if you've got a grandson or son, daughter, or you want to do it, that's fine too. So the right to throw out the first pitch at tonight's ball game and my seats at the game as the Red Hawks take on the Milwaukee Milkmen. If you are caller 5 right now, 237-5948, 237-5948 into the studio, you'll win these 4 tickets to the game and the right to throw out the first pitch at tonight's ball game.
What a prize.
It's a great prize, and boy, if you got a little one, get the video camera going, even if they're not little. You can post it and maybe pick on somebody. But yeah, you get to throw out the first pitch tonight at Newman Outdoor Field, and my seats at the ball game, and there's 4 of them. So give us a call, 237-5948, caller 5. You're going to be our winner. Okay, with that, Paulie will let us know who won coming up here in a few minutes. With that, say hello to Chief Steve Dirkson of the Fargo Fire Department. Good afternoon, Steve. It's good to see you.
Hey, good to be back, Dan.
Should I say Chief? Is it okay if I call you Steve?
No, you can call me Steve.
Okay.
A lot of people are afraid to call me Steve, and that's my name. That's what I was given, so I prefer to be called that.
Well, in deference, we're just showing our respect to a person in a high spot like you are. Chief Steve Dirkson is in our studios, and he has been kind enough to have been coming in these last several months on the drive, and we talked to the chief about who our firefighter of the month is and et cetera. It's called Checking In with the Chief, and we're glad that you are here today, Chief. So very busy time for you right now. I know there's some actually breaking news that we could talk about as well here. And why don't we just get that out of the way as Paulie is still pretty busy behind the board over there with taking our winner down for the baseball game. The case of the Dairy Queen strip mall fire is in the headlines today. There was just a release today saying you found the reason for the fire. Yeah,
we believe it's intentionally set, but that's about all I can say because it's still in an investigation looking into that. And it's a police matter, and they're conducting their investigation.
And I figured that's what you would say, but along those lines, so you guys, your team discovered what the cause was?
Yeah, we found the place of origin where we believe it started, and then through our folks doing their investigation came to a determination that it was not a random event that happened.
Okay. And so does who is the fire inspector? Is that?
Yeah, our deputy fire marshals do the
fire marshal. Okay,
do the investigation on our part and do the origin and cause investigation.
Okay.
And if we come across something that doesn't look right, then we bring in Fargo PD. We have at our access the ATF, those kind of folks that have more expertise in probably a criminal matter to start looking into those.
So those guys have their own fire investigators then?
ATF does. Fargo PD does not, but they're more versed at a criminal investigation than what our folks are.
So from this point forward, will the FPD, will your investigators have any thing to do with the investigation?
Our investigation is complete, and it's been now turned over to FPD for theirs. And so until their investigation is completed, that's about the extent of what we can discuss.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, I understand. No. And if you talk to the police, they normally say it's an ongoing investigation and we cannot comment at this time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we don't want to be out saying anything that might mess up an investigation. And
I got you. It's significant, though, to note that fire at the strip mall, the Dairy Queen on 32nd Avenue South and 20th Street, was set intentionally.
Yes.
And that's a real shame, and our investigators are very sharp, and I don't doubt they're going to get to the bottom of that in just a moment, in just a few days. Not to put pressure on them. Don't mean to do that. I just mean to say that they're very, very good at what they do.
Yep.
Well, with that, let's talk about our Firefighter of the Month. Paulie? When we check in with the chief, with Chief Steve Dirkson, once a month on KFGO, we have a firefighter of the month that we talk about. And Chief, would you talk about today's Firefighter of the Month and who he is and why he is the Firefighter of the Month?
Absolutely. The gentleman that we chose for this month, the firefighter that we chose, is firefighter Mike Ambrose. Mike is currently assigned and he's working today, and he's not able to join us because he's out serving the community on a couple of calls right now. So.
We tried to get him on the air, and they couldn't pick up because he went from one call to the next.
As I was driving over, I heard the tones go out, and they were on one call, and then I heard another one. They might be just about ready to clear the one, and then another one came in their territory, and that's the nature of the business, when we have guys on duty, and that's their first job, and so I'll take it, from here. But Mike is one of our. He works on our hazmat team.
Okay,
does a great job there. But one of the things that kind of has elevated him to where we wanted to spotlight Firefighter Ambrose at this point is he's been an integral part in our fire department's critical incident stress management team.
What does that mean?
It's one of those, our jobs are stressful jobs.
Yep.
And we can hold our stress in, and what our team does is they look for those situations. They're a resource for our firefighters. We even go outside of our organization as well to help, if it's been a difficult call. A lot of times things that affect our folks are, SIDS deaths, big trauma type accidents, any type of death can trigger things with our folks. And maybe there's issues that they're having at home or whatever, family, kids, spouses, parents, those kind of things. And they're a resource for them to have somebody to talk to in a confidential manner that the chief doesn't know about it. I know that we have the program, and I'm grateful for that, but I stay away from knowing the details unless somebody wants to share with me what they are, but I'm not part of the team. I just support them, and they're there to help get through any of those tough issues that they might be dealing with.
Boy, so he's on that team, so he sits down and talks with other guys who may be having a problem?
Yeah, we have, we've got a team of folks throughout the department. We have, a clergy member that's part of that group as well. Mike has taken some initiative. He found a class and a training here a couple of years ago and came to me and made a presentation, said, Chief, I'd really like to go. I think we need to do this. So we found the budget money to do it, and we sent him off to a 4-day class. I believe it was in Denver. And he learned a whole lot, and he's brought a whole bunch of things back to us, and we've got the program up and rolling.
That is a great idea.
Absolutely. It's that peer-to-peer.
Yeah.
That just having somebody that kind of understands, doesn't need to be there to solve the problem,
right.
Not there to work through it with them, but there to listen and just be that listening ear for somebody that's having a difficult time.
And in years past, when some type of post-traumatic stress would have strike somebody who is a police officer, a firefighter, et cetera, may result in drinking too much, problems at home, other ways to manifest that thing you take with you, the stress from your job.
Yeah, absolutely. Firefighters and police officers aren't immune. We deal with stress the same way everybody else does.
Yeah.
We may have a little bit more of we may try humor, which some people don't understand. But that's why that peer-to-peer is really, really good.
Are you talking about gallows humor?
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe kind of that.
You have to have that when you're on the job.
Absolutely. I heard the discussion coming in whether it was Animal House or
it's Old School.
Old School, yeah. Well,
you ever seen Old School?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And Animal House is way better.
Well, yeah. Not even a debate.
Yep.
I was amazed by that. But it was their first one. So I'm sure they'll do different things coming up. So, Chief, anything else you want to talk to us about when we're talking to Michael Ambrose, talking about him?
He's just been a solid performer for us, and we're glad that he's part of our team and appreciate the efforts that he puts through. He's a good, solid employee, and the citizens of Fargo can rest easy that he's working for.
All right. Firefighter Michael Ambrose is our Firefighter of the Month. I'm checking in with the Chief on KFGO. Other things going on within the fire department, we wanted to talk about summertime fire safety.
Yeah, it's warming up. A couple 100-degree days and 90-degree days. It really kind of gets you thinking a little bit more. The lakes are starting to warm up, so people are spending time in it. We've had some issues already this past weekend where we've had some drowning deaths in the state and those kind of things. And just want to make sure that we just remind everybody, if you're in a boat, have your kids in a life jacket. You should wear a life jacket. Having safety equipment around you. If you're at a pool, making sure that it's clear, that people aren't tripping and can fall into the pool, that those things are secure as well. And the other big thing coming up is I heard discussion out in the lobby here is there's a big picnic coming up here on Thursday.
Yep.
And there's this time of year we do a lot more grilling. So it's just a good reminder that, keep your grills a minimum of 3 feet away from your house or anything combustible. Clean it on a regular basis, especially if it's a gas grill or a smoker type grill. The charcoal grills tend to burn more things off, but we want to clean that up and make sure that we don't have flare-ups. If you're out there, you might be wearing something to protect you from the sun, so roll up those sleeves so they don't catch on fire in case you get a flare-up and those kind of things.
So if I have a gas grill, where does the chief of the Fargo Fire Department stand on storing my tanks in the wintertime, stuff like that? Where should we store those gas tanks?
It's my preference that they stay outside.
Okay.
That's what the fire code would suggest as well. Because, inside it's contained, and if you do have an incident inside your house, that could, that provides fuel inside your house. Outside is probably not going to be as much of a danger to you. So
one of my best friends, a former firefighter that Captain Bolstead, and he caught me with one of my gas tanks in my garage one time and went on to lecture me for a little while, and we keep them outside now too because of that. And if you think about that, just say that you had a fire at your place and the firefighters are going into your garage and that tank explodes because it's in the garage.
Yeah, I've fought a few propane tank, those 20-pound cylinders where it burned through the hose and it's roaring out of the end of the tank. Well, think about the surprise that we have when we come inside and you hear that steaming and that high-pitched whistle. You don't know if that tank is going to explode or what's going to happen.
Yeah, so store them outside. Yep. And something else that's going on around us right now, and I'm really feeling for the folks out in central North Dakota. If you look at the radar, what's going on, unless my radar is faulty, I mean, it is just constantly raining west of Jamestown, between Jamestown and Bismarck, and then south of Bismarck there is a spot where it's just swirling. And, we've had that here in Fargo a couple of years ago. I hope those folks are going to be okay out there. But when there is a water damage situation like that, you had water coming in, is it okay to call the fire department when something like that happens?
Yeah, we're kind of the catch-all for, odd things that happen. If you don't know who to call, generally the fire department is one that we call, or that people will call. We'll come and take a look and see if there's something that we can do to help. We have some equipment for those things, but we're not always that available because the emergency response is going to trump any a service call is what we would call that.
Okay. So do you have a special code? When do you know that you need to go to a fire? When it's that important that the chief has to be there?
They'll usually call me and notify me that it's I usually go on a second alarm or higher. Okay. So when we get to the larger fires, but our battalion chiefs, they all have instruction to give me a call that when something is happening.
Okay.
We had a couple incidents that maybe weren't to a second alarm fire, but they are calling and letting me know what's going on, especially in the middle of the night when, I always say, don't surprise me. I don't want to wake up in the morning and turn on KSGO and hear Don Haney reporting live from somewhere, and I didn't know about it. Yeah. I said I want to know about these things. That's what they pay me to do is to be notified and decide if we need more resources, if I need to talk to people.
I would suppose that oh boy, we're running out of time fast. I would suppose, Chief, that when you first became chief, you first started climbing that ladder, if you will, it is got to be really hard not to want to go on every call.
It is. That's that adrenaline rush is something that attracts us to the job, and I did that. But after a while, I did learn that I can get by without that rush, and do some different things to make sure I serve my community as best as I can.
So one last question, because we are out of time, and Paul is going to start throwing things at me here pretty soon. But what's it take to get on the hazmat team? That seems to me like it's like an all-star team or something. You mean you have to be very good at what you do, don't you?
Yeah, it's somebody that has that aptitude for we like that to know things like chemistry and how to deal how things work together and how dangerous things can be. You have to really want it. It takes some time. You don't just get to go do it overnight. It takes a lot of training. It takes 3-4 years to where you're really getting comfortable in wearing the suits and understanding the programs and the technical equipment that's available.
All right, Steve Dirkson, the chief of Fargo's bravest. Chief Steve Dirkson of the Fargo Fire Department checking in with the chief. We'll see him again in 1 month when we check in with the chief next time. Chief, thanks so very, very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Hey, thanks, Dan. It's always great to be here.
Our pleasure. 424 at the Mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO.
You're listening to The Drive with Dan Michaels.
I guess I was going about 65.